story takes place on Super Bowl weekend. Last year in Super Bowl weekend in New York City on Super Bowl Boulevard. So how did I end up in New York City for the Super Bowl? Well, I work for a major software company, and one of our customers is the NFL. We also have as one of our customers the New York Giants. So when the NFL said that we were going to have the Super Bowl in Giant Stadium, that meant big, big marketing for my company. So I don't work for the marketing department, and I don't work in the New York City office, but I have a husband who's a videographer. So when my company announced that they were going to have a video contest for an all-expense paid trip to New York City Super Bowl weekend, out of 15,000 people, I won. So I was the ambassador of football for my company, which meant I got to spend the whole weekend in New York City during the Super Bowl. So what was on the itinerary? Well, Friday I would arrive to New York City. Friday night my husband would meet me there. Saturday I had a meet and greet with Marshall Faulk, a big NFL football player. And then I was to work a 4-hour shift on Super Bowl Boulevard where I would represent my company. Saturday night I would go to the NFL Honors Awards. So I would walk the red carpet, meet all the players. And then Sunday I had tickets to a Super Bowl viewing party in Manhattan. So very exciting stuff. I arrived to New York on Friday, really excited. I'd only been to New York one other time. I'd never been to Times Square, and I was staying at the Marriott in the middle, literally the middle of Times Square. So I got to New York, I threw my bags in the room, and I immediately went out to the boulevard. They had shut down Times Square. There was no traffic. It was all just events and Super Bowl parties, areas where you could kick the extra points. They had the Super Bowl trophy there. You get your photo with it. It was really amazing. So I'm a nerd, and anytime I go anywhere I've never been before, I do the most corny, touristy thing you can think of. So for me, I went directly to the M&M store in Times Square. I went to the store, and my whole thing that I had planned for the day until my husband came at night was I was going to go get a shit ton of M&Ms, and I was going to eat those as I walked around the city. So it was in the M&M store in Times Square, and I was filling my M&M bag that it hit me. And it started at the top of my head, and it moved down to my shoulders, and it went down to my spine. And it was like somebody turned the gravity off, because I never felt this heavy and this sick in my entire life. So there in the M&M store in Times Square on Friday for my all-expense paid trip to Super Bowl weekend in New York, I got sick. And not like a little sick, like a cough and cold. Sick like when they finally come up with the vaccine for this disease is because they tracked it down to patient zero, which was me, in the M&M store in Times Square. So I left the M&M store and went directly back to the hotel, and I called my husband on the way and I said, listen, I can't come get you at Penn Station. You're going to have to find me. I'm in New York. I'm at the Marriott. Tell my friends and family I love them because I'm going to be dead when you get here. I don't remember much that night. I woke up to a knock on the door, and my husband came in. I said, listen, you got to get me up tomorrow at 9. I have this meet and greet. I have this 4-hour shift I have to work. And I went to sleep. I woke up the next morning. My husband woke me up, and I don't know how, but I got dressed. I went down there to meet Marshall Faulk. I don't remember much about meeting him. I have photos with him, but I don't remember being in them or talking to him, because the whole time I was in that booth, I remember just being fixated on where in this booth can I vomit where no one's going to notice for a little while, because it was just, I can't even put in words how sick I was. I got given my job for the day. Everybody had their jobs for the 4-hour shift. My job for the day was to stand at the entrance to the booth on Super Bowl Boulevard and to meet and greet the hundreds of thousands of people that walked through Times Square that day. Touch them, shake their hands. It is very possible that I'm the one that brought Ebola to the US. Like, very possible that it just laid dormant in Times Square. At the end of my shift, I went right back to the hotel to get ready for the Honors Awards, because now I get to walk the red carpet. And I don't even know how this happened. I went and I walked the red carpet, and I met tons of NFL players. I met and shook the hand of Nick Foles. I met the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles, Lori. So it's quite possibly my fault we didn't go to the Super Bowl this year, because I touched all of the Eagles there that night, and we didn't make it. So I got home where we had to the hotel, and my husband was waiting there. We had dinner reservations, part of this package, at a very fancy, expensive restaurant that night. So I went back to the hotel where my husband was, and I came back, and he was dressed very nice to go out for the night in a suit. And I looked at him, and he looked really wet in his suit. And I said, honey, are you feeling okay? He said, no, I'm not really feeling very good right now. I'm sick. And I was like, oh my God, it's spread. So now the Danesis, with the plague in New York City, went to our $200 dish steak dinner which was ironically right next door to a Duane Reade, the steak restaurant. So we went to Duane Reade, we got NyQuil, and then we went to a steakhouse where we ate $200 steaks and drank NyQuil. That was our night. So we didn't taste the steak. We went home, and then Super Bowl Sunday came, and by then we weren't leaving the hotel. So if you can imagine a hospital room inside of a nightclub, that's what was happening, because we had slept in separate beds, the door opened, they brought in the chicken soup and the tea. We would hear, at all the lobby and the party that was happening in the hotel, they would close the door. And then by Monday morning, we headed back home, and we were coming out of this funk. I don't know what this is. So when I think about my Super Bowl weekend and I think about how sick I was, I know people tell stories about how women have this ability to forget pain, right? That's how we don't remember pain during childbirth. That's why we can have multiple children. We have this ability to push the pain away. I don't think I have that ability, because I remember every second of my illness from this weekend. So I don't have kids, and I'm pretty sure I'm never gonna, because there's no way I'm gonna forget that pain. Thanks.